Welcome, everybody. John Arvosa is here, Washington, D.C., here to talk about Ukraine and the latest. Just checking on my TikTok here. And wow. Well, if folks want to maybe, hey, Ashley, you're first on TikTok. If folks want to introduce yourselves, because as I said, there are always some new folks. So it's nice to sort of say where you're from, if you would. And as always, we wait till about 5 minutes after the hour to start, because it gives us enough time for people on TikTok and YouTube, among other places, to get their notifications. And yes, cue the Russians. They've been crazy. Crazy all over us lately. Oh, well. So where's everybody from? Any newbies? Nebraska. Marcy, I didn't remember that. It's funny looking to sort of names I'm recognizing now. Laka, for example, not realizing where you guys are from. Radoslav, I always remember, was from Bulgaria. Noswolf? What the hell is that? What the hell is that, Strike? Oh my. 14C. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Europe's undergoing its crazy heat wave. I was hearing this morning on the news here in the US that London was up to like 102 degrees Fahrenheit, 102 or 104, but then they added 1 to 2% of British people have air conditioning, which is insane. Absolutely insane imagining it being that temperature, but no AC. I mean, 109 is horrible, Big Hawk, but at least you've got AC, I hope. But not having air conditioning, dear Lord. Oh, hello from Normandy, Ike. Yeah, that's insane. I mean, God, just crazy. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway, I've got my thing of green tea. My voice has been bad all day. And I am finally trying to set up an appointment with my allergy doc because 2 weeks of bad voice is enough. And again, we'll see if the warm and hot tea helps. Anyway, are you there by yourself, Nathan? I don't know. I like to think, Nathan, that you're never really alone. Take that as you will. No, there's a number. Yeah, I was going to say there's a number of mighty Twitchers over there with you. Yeah, I just 100. I mean, that temperature, I can't stand it. It's been, thanks, Mike. It has been 90, and it's going to be 90 in DC, like 90 to 95, probably until September at this point. And it's just god awful, but I can't even imagine 100. Oh, I mean, it's bad enough like this. You know, you can't really walk the dog. I mean, it's hot enough for you, but for the animals, forget it. You know, I'm not going to risk it for her. But yeah. Seattle, nobody has AC either? Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. Wow. I don't have a scratchy throat, though. That's the weird part. That's why I think it's my allergies and kind of, you know, my nose dripping, because my throat's not bothering me at all. I don't feel it. It's just every day goes up and down with it being raspy, unless you meant raspy. It's not scratchy. Good shirt color for reading comments. Yeah, I know. I try not to wear the white shirts too much because I know you guys hate that. But another 2 minutes, guys. We will start in 2 minutes. Just going to give folks another little chance to filter in, if we may. But yeah, not good. And I think I'm finally over my COVID vaccine. I only felt sick yesterday, which was good. Woke up today. I'm a little tired right now, but otherwise I feel normal, which is good. I'm just a little tired. Much better than yesterday. Yesterday I felt gross all day. Ugh. But what do you do? What do you do? I'm trying to read the Russian comments before they get booted. Are there any here? Hey, Nicole Renault. I didn't see them fake getting arrested. Marianne, you goddess. Thank you. You know I love you even when you don't make ridiculously generous super sticker donations, but hope you're well. Oh yeah, let me know when you're coming. Like I said, I'm traveling at the end of the month, next month, and my friend Damien is house sitting, so nobody think of robbing me. That's like became a thing several years ago. people getting their homes burglarized because they would mention on Facebook when they were leaving, and then of course they would put pictures up with the whole family abroad or somewhere else, and the burglars would know they weren't home and they'd rob them. So it's crazy. Well, vaccines. Well, the thing is, vaccines can prevent you from getting the host disease. Depends on the vaccine. The goal, however, with COVID is the goal was to make a vaccine that would limit your symptoms. So hopefully you would catch a cold or a flu type symptoms instead of dying or going to the hospital. But vaccines can, in fact, stop you from getting the illness at all. It's just sort of a random thing, though, is whose body it helps stop it entirely, whose it doesn't, et cetera. But correct. The goal of the vaccines is so you don't die or have serious illness or hospitalization. That's the goal of COVID. It's the goal of a lot of different vaccines, although some of the vaccines are so you don't even get it. I mean, let's face it, a lot of the childhood vaccines you get now, it's not like you get a simple case of mumps. You just don't get mumps, I think, right? Any case, it depends on the vaccines, but yeah, I don't even tolerate the vaccine crazies because it's just ridiculous. Yeah, no, that's what I figured. I mean, not I figured, but that's what I'd always read, Ian. It just depends on the vaccine and even COVID. Well, COVID, we won't do a whole COVID show here, but COVID is difficult because a lot of people are asymptomatic. So we don't really know who isn't getting the illness at all and who's getting it without symptoms, because if you don't have symptoms, you don't test yourself usually and you don't know. So, and there you go. That is our COVID minute. All right, guys, I am going to start. So, excuse me, as always, I will do about 20 minutes of news, and then we'll do questions and answers. You guys on TikTok, you guys on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. There you go. Almost forgot the Twitchers. Sorry. Nathan's there today, especially. I've got to be good. So what we'll do first is for you guys on TikTok, because TikTok is a pain, the Q&A box to put questions in is on my, I'm pulling it up right now, is on my profile. You go to my profile, right above my videos. And if you zoom in, you're going to see that thing that says Q&A in red. If you touch that button, it will let you submit a question. And for me, it shows me all of your questions. That is the best way to show me your questions, because that way they queue up and I don't lose them. For you all, you know how it works. Put the comments in the comment box, or if you're like Marion, you spend $50 and don't even buy me a question. I'm kidding. You can always use the super chat questions, and if you do that, I always promise I will get to the super chat questions because I can't get to every question. But since you're making a donation to me, I always promise I'll get to your question that way. So it's a nice quid pro quo. I'd like you to do me a favor, though. In any case, and finally, you guys, always happy to get the gifts, which are the cute little hats and the wonderful little shellfish and everything else. And therefore, I will try to give you a shout out when you guys do that. So thank you for that. And if somebody in the comments wants to explain the SNN thing by people's names and the subscription thing and everything else, that would be lovely. All right, guys, let me start. And thank you, Verna, already for that. I'm going to start. So first of all, as I already rubbed my nose, we have a winner in our contest. As I told you guys yesterday, we raised $4,335 for people with disabilities in the town of Barvinkove. I finally got it without looking it up. Ukraine, which is on the front with the Russian fighting and everything. And they weren't able to get legit food, medicine, sundries like toothpaste, toothbrushes, all this kind of stuff. Bottom line is they asked a nonprofit that we've been working with to help them. They needed $5,000 of goods. We raised money. You guys chipped in $4,335. And as a thank you, Vlad has sent me a lot of stuff from Ukraine. And we decided just to, raffle, except I'm not going to call it a raffle because maybe that's gaming. We decided to randomly pick an email of somebody who donated $5 or more. And that person was Ann Parker. And Ann and I have already been in touch. And I am going to be mailing Ann the Ukrainian Army patch that has the trident on it. We do have a couple though, tomorrow. And Vlad and I thought this was kind of a neat idea. So future fundraisers, I still want to get the auction set up when I get a chance for the other Ukrainian stuff, but at least this way for future fundraisers, it'd be kind of nice that we can do a thing or two, So there you go. There you go. But so thank you, Anne. But I mean, thank you, everybody, obviously, because it wasn't just Anne, but Anne got lucky enough to win the patch. So thank you all. Ukrainian First Lady Olena Zelenska is on a high-profile trip to Washington. She was meeting First Lady Jill Biden at the White House on Tuesday afternoon and is scheduled to address Congress on Wednesday. I know we need a HIMAR raffle. That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. I'd have to put it on my balcony. Don't mess with me, neighbors. Anyway, she also met with Joe Biden as well. So that was nice. Reuters says that Russia is going to, this story I saw right before we came on tonight. Reuters says Russia is going to restart the Nord Stream 1 gas pipeline, natural gas pipeline, on July 21st. Russian gas flows through Nord Stream 1 pipeline will resume after routine maintenance is completed. I love when they say routine maintenance because I don't believe in a million years that the routine maintenance had to happen right now. This is the Russians screwing with the Germans. It is. But the press all picks it up. Oh, routine maintenance is completed. The pipeline accounts for more than a third of Russian natural gas exports to the European Union. So that's what's going on. The gas is supposedly getting turned back on. What is weird, and why, again, I say this is all Russia messing around, this comes a day or two after we heard that, remember, Gazprom, the company, said that because of force majeure, act of God, it was no longer able to provide gas. So who knows what the hell's going on, right? They couldn't provide gas yesterday, but now they're saying, oh yeah, we're turning it back on, no problem. So again, Russians playing games. Warm tea. Actually, that was cooled off tea. From the Times of London, the Ukrainian defense minister says that Ukraine is preparing to destroy Russia's Black Sea Fleet and deoccupy Crimea. Crimea, got my handy dandy t-shirt map. Crimea is the peninsula down here, stolen by the Russians in 2014, so it's occupied by Russia. And the Black Sea Fleet was previously stationed, I believe that this is where it was, the main station was at Sevastopol. Well, because the HIMARS rockets, and maybe was it M270s as well, can go pretty far, at least over 40 miles, they were able to reach Sevastopol, and the Ukrainians or something else the Ukrainians have. The Russians freaked out and moved their ships way over here. So what the Ukrainians are now saying is they've got plans to get back all of Crimea and to destroy the Russian Black Sea Fleet. They could destroy the fleet if they get the better missiles and rockets. As you know, the system the U.S. provided is called HIMARS, HIMARS. I don't even know one of these days we'll Google it. If somebody wants to write down what HIMARS stands for, I'm happy to repeat it. But it's a missile system, and then we have to provide it with missiles or rockets, right? Well, the rockets we provide it with can only go 43 miles, maybe on a good day, 50 or 60 miles. But we have rockets that go 186 miles that the system can also fire. But we didn't want to give it the longer range rockets because we were all upset about, making Putin angry, and we didn't trust Ukraine, that Ukraine might use it to hit a Russian city, all this kind of BS. Well, if they get that, Arifa, thank you for the bumper cars. If we give the Ukrainians high mobility artillery rocket system, that makes sense. That makes sense because it's on the back of a truck. I mean, it's actually like a one-piece truck in essence. And as I recall, it's like a truck, whatever you call the thing on the back of a truck, and the thing goes like this and fires. But what's nice is you can then drive away right after you fire, so it makes it next to impossible for the Russians to shoot back and hit you. Because you fire, and that tells the Russians where you are, but it takes the Russians long enough to get you that you drive away. So that's why this is much better than regular artillery, something you'd have to like hook up and drag, right? So anyway, very good deal on that front. But yeah, so they're claiming, Ukrainians are saying they are preparing to destroy the Russian Navy's Black Sea Fleet with Western weapons and take back Crimea. Kyiv's deputy defense minister has said. Volodymyr Havrilov claimed that the Ukrainian military was building up its own anti-ship missile capabilities and was waiting to receive longer range weapons from other nations before launching an assault. So, to me, that's a little bit more signaling. We've been getting a lot of signaling out of the Ukrainian government. To me, that's a little more signaling that they think they're getting the longer range rockets from us, that they think eventually, I know they're negotiating now, or they're talking to the US about it right now. They think the US will eventually provide them. So they're trying to kind of make hints now that that's going to happen. We shall see. I hope to God Biden does it, but we shall see. Speaking of HIMARS, the U.S. is going to give Ukraine even more HIMARS rocket systems. We have provided them, I believe, 12 at this point. 8 of them may already be in use, I think. Another 4 are en route, and this would be more. They didn't say how many. My guess is we're going to give them 4 because we love to nickel and dime them to death on this. Thank you, Grandma. I just don't get it. Why can't we just give them like 20? I just don't get why it's like this week we give them 4, 3 weeks later, let's give them 4 more. I don't get it. And we haven't really put a good reason for doing it, but whatever. The White House is expected to announce a new package of military aid to Ukraine this week, said John Kirby, the coordinator for strategic communications at the U.S. National Security Council. Kirby clarified that the new aid package will include additional HIMARS multiple rocket launchers, as well as additional ammunition for rocket launchers and artillery. Wouldn't it be lovely if he said it was long-range ammunition? The French foreign minister says that France will be sending 6 additional French Caesar howitzers to Ukraine. They are on their way. France has previously supplied 12 Caesar howitzers already. This would be 6 more. And I checked up the range. The range is anywhere from 25 to 34 miles. Again, my guess is this is the conservative range. So, maybe it'll get you close to where the HIMARS are. And I'm trying to remember, are the French Caesars also mobile? I thought they were mobile. Anybody know? It didn't mention it in the article offhand, but I thought I'd read previously they were. Somebody jump in. I know it always takes a second for you guys to catch up because I am always 15 seconds ahead. They are mobile, says Bobby Mati. Okay, that's good. Caesars are like the Paladins? I don't know what that means. That was too geeky for me. Caesars are towed. We're getting different answers here. Some are saying mobile, some are saying towed. When I say mobile, I mean like self-mobile. You know what I mean? They're truck mounted. So once they fire, you can go boom, right? It's not like you've got to then hook something up and pull them away. Okay, good. Totally mobile on a 6x6 on a truck. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Not towed. Okay, that's good. Good. So this is good because it's, again, the point is even if they don't go far enough, because the Russians are now kind of freaking out rightfully. Thank you, Ren, for the galaxy there. The Russians are freaking out rightfully about these weapons so that, remember I mentioned yesterday, the Russian defense minister chimed in yesterday. I guess he was visiting the troops in some occupied area of Ukraine. And he told the Russian troops, he ordered them to start going after the Ukrainian HIMARS system, the Ukrainian rockets, which is funny, thank you, Grandma, because the Ukrainians have been using these things for like 6 weeks. They've been absolutely destroying the Russians. And only yesterday, he gave them an order to go after these things. And because the Ukrainian system is so top down, the local guys don't like on their own decide what to go after, apparently. I mean, it's super, there is very little authority when you get down to the operational level of these soldiers. So it just kind of cracks me up. But one more thing that helps the Ukrainians. British Ministry of Defense. Hold on, hot sip of tea for my voice, and then I'll tell you about these guys. Ooh, warm. British Ministry of Defense said, oh yeah, they put out a daily statement actually on Ukraine that's very helpful. Actually, tell me something really quick. Let's have a quick discussion about this. Poli-sci history guy just weighed in on TikTok and said they have no NCOs. I have never totally understood what is an NCO, but also why it matters. This topic comes up all the time whenever we discuss the fact that the Russians are top down and they've got to get orders from on high. And therefore, the troops on the ground can't really improvise on their own. If there's a target they could go after, they just don't do it. What is an NCO and why does not having NCOs cripple the Russians in this way? We say non-commissioned officers, but again, what does that actually mean? Sergeants, okay. And what's the point of it, though? And what is the point of them that somehow empowers the American military, but not the Russian? So the Army's 4 men, okay, they have no local leadership. They can't keep the units engaged and focused. The NCO is the backbone of the Army. We do all the work. I mean, that may be true, but I imagine this is going to start a nice little Army fight. So the NCOs are the bosses on the field. Okay, but don't you have aren't the enlisted men also on the field to give you majors, or I don't know, what are they called? Whatever they're called. Aren't they on the field too to give you orders? That's the thing I'm trying to understand here. They're on the front line. They manage small battle groups. I got you. Oh, they are enlisted. I'm sorry. They are enlisted. Okay. Yeah, it's still not quite. An NCO is a non-commissioned officer. It's Lance Corporal to warrant officer. These are the real 22-year service people with experience. The NCOs are the leaders of enlisted. Okay. I still don't quite get it, but I guess let me rephrase it this way. Is the idea that the NCOs are much lower down than who's giving orders in the Russian army, yet at the same time, the NCOs are way more qualified than somebody on the Russian, well, I mean, on the Russian side, they just don't even have anybody who's lower down from the generals or whatever who can give orders. I did watch Band of Brothers, I think. I can watch it again. It's something I've just never understood with the military, was the whole difference between, like I said, like sergeants versus majors or whatever it is, But I thought it was interesting because I also enjoy when we get into these discussions. I think you guys have a lot of input that's really interesting. Radoslav is saying Russia's version of NCOs, thank you, reality check for that. Russia's version of NCOs are mostly contracted troops, so troops that are there on a contractual basis, who do not have a leadership role or manage discipline like their counterparts in the US or British military. Okay, so A, lack of leadership or management, and B, discipline. Interesting. Okay. And oops, that was an interesting thing. NCOs, so non-commissioned officers, stop young, non-experienced officers getting everybody killed. They have age and experience and normally make low-level tactical decisions. They make the decisions. Okay, so actually, let me rephrase this a different way. I mean, the issue isn't that they don't have NCOs, so to speak. The issue is they just don't empower anybody at a lower level to make decisions, where in our army we do, and the people we empower happen to be called NCOs. Well, NCOs is the category, I guess. But again, I'm trying to make this as dumb as possible. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, JSM. Yeah, so basically we do empower lower level people, they don't. It's really amazing because one of the things I was reading was, early on, was this whole idea of how just that, Russian troops will keep doing what they were told to do, even when they were coming down from the north, when all hell was breaking loose, right? And they were just getting destroyed. They didn't have additional orders, so they just kind of kept following the orders. And it was crazy. So kind of funny, actually, if it means just that literally they wouldn't be going after the HIMARS because the order didn't come down from on high, which is insane. They've been blowing you up for weeks and weeks. Strike says, Strike, if you think about it, the Russians are throwing lots of young conscripts with a lack of experience on the front line with no frontline management. That's exactly it. Yeah, God, imagine. I saw, I was gonna grab his picture today. One of the stories I'm gonna get to is this mom who made a public appeal for her son. I might as well tell you the story. Her son, contract worker. I don't know for how long, but he's a contract fighter because that's what they do, and asked for time off to go home because his wife was giving birth to his daughter. And the military didn't even respond to his request for time off. He asked again, he asked repeatedly, no response at all. And so he and several other, at least 6 or 7 other soldiers serving with him just walked off the job. And they said, screw it, we're going home. And they've got him in detention. Part of the problem is, at least from the story I was reading, but this kind of goes with what I heard at the beginning of the war, because it's not a war officially, And because they don't have nationwide conscription, they don't really have the penalties in place that they'd normally have for people like him who say, I'm going to end my contract. Actually, what I read was you can break your contract even, which sounds weird because contracts generally can't be broken without penalties, right? But it even said that you can break the contract, so that actually it wasn't crazy what the guy was asking for to visit his daughter. And it wasn't crazy for him to then just say, fine, I'm ending the contract. Well, they screwed him. What was interesting is the mom, I'm going to pull this up because I was going to grab his photo and I didn't. It was just kind of amazing. I'm going to Google this. Ilya Kaminsky. I'm going to Google this just so I can find his photo, because it was this amazingly young photo of this guy too. I mean, I guess my question for the American military folks is, God, do our guys look this young? I mean, this guy was just young, you know? Hold on. Soldier. I keep getting somebody else. There's some other famous Ilya Kaminsky. Here he is. This photo just kind of blew my mind. All right, hang on. Save image. Here we go. I'm going to save it and I'm going to lighten it up a little bit because it's hard to see. I mean, this guy's a freaking baby. So this is the guy. Mom puts a video on Instagram. The wife puts a video calling out the Russian government and saying, you know, where is he? You need to let him go. She's working with some other mothers. And part of the reason I brought the story up was this is a very interesting sign of bad things to come for Putin. Because when the mothers start getting involved, look out. I mean, this is what really screwed the Russians in Afghanistan, that the mothers of the dead, and maybe even the mothers of the wounded, that I don't know, but the mothers started organizing and speaking out, and it was a disaster. Look at this kid. I mean, could he be any like boyishly younger, this kid? You know, I'll show you guys. I mean, look at him. It's really sad. I mean, right, he looks like he's 18. I mean, he looks at best 18. He looks 16. You know? And it just, that's what I mean, 15, 16. I wouldn't even say 18. He looks like a high school kid who hasn't really hit puberty yet. I mean, it's just, Sasha's doing well. Thanks for asking. It's just really, oh, I didn't even realize that. Is that like a sign that the helmet doesn't even fit? Oh, I didn't even realize, is that a helmet not really fitting? I guess I was noticing how small his face looked. Is that a helmet that barely fits? His face does look small for that helmet. Really just sad. I mean, well, that's the thing. I mean, self-made trauma saying, yes, my son is a 21-year-old Marine. He and all his buddies look very young. I mean, I'd imagine at 21, you look young anyway. And we do. In the US, you can enlist at 18, right? 17 or 18? 18 probably. So you could get kids looking awfully young. I mean, Treva thinks that at least it looks like it fits. Your Marine said no, what? That it doesn't fit, or what? 18? Right, so our guys can go in at 18. What was your Marine saying about the, when you said he said no, Lisa? 17 with parents' permission, really? Oops. Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to do a quick little look at what, like I said, I love when we have these discussions because I think it's fascinating with you guys to kind of weigh in. Hold on. Taken from 18. It just looks very young, though, to me. It just looks, wives B, he just looks like a child to me. I mean, he just looks like a child. Wow. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. NCOs are your dad. Thank you, Stephen, for that. All right. So I'm just looking back to see what else. Russian, do what you're told, not what is needed. NCO guides and acts like dad officers. Yep. Yep. All right. All right. Fabiana, you were saying, have you ever watched Russell Brand? He makes me question what we talk about here. I don't know who he is. Who is he? Who is he? I just don't know who the guy is. So that would be no. I can Google him, but what makes you question what? Russell Brand. English comedian. Okay. I mean, whatever. He's a comedian. Although I guess comedians could be like our version of Jon Stewart or whatever. Yeah, no, I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. So, but what does he make you question? I'm just seeing more of the went into the Marines. Well, I mean, people do. Yeah, Tony. I mean, going into that's what I said. People do go into that age. Russell Brand is a self-help guru. I Googled him and said he was a comedian. No? Oh, their version of George Carlin. Well, that's what I figured. He's a comedian, but it's biting comedy, social commentary, blah, blah, blah. You know? I did not see. Was there a leaked Biden convo with the previous Ukrainian president? I have no idea. Are you sure it's even real? Russell Brand is a comedian who is very literate, but opinions are up his jack C. Okay. I mean, he could be like Jon. I mean, I think Jon Stewart has wonderful opinions, but nonetheless, yeah, he's really leftist. Yeah. Well, I mean, what is he against the war? I mean, is he against helping Ukraine? Is he that leftist? You know. Let me look 1 second here. Hang on. One moment. Not seeing it on Twitter. What are you talking about? Nobody's tagged me on. You haven't tagged me on Twitter. Not on my Aravosis account. You haven't. Nope. I'm going to close it so it's not sitting there open. Well, let me Google this just for fun really quick. Biden, who is it, Poroshenko? Always forget his name. Oh, okay, it's on YouTube, which I'm always suspicious about. So I'm not going to trust some YouTube video, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, the problem is this leak story is coming from like Democracy Now! That I know a lot of folks respect. I don't. Okay, Mother Jones, I can deal with that. Oh no, this is the Trump thing. What are you even talking about? There's no leaked audio of Biden. That's what I thought. It ain't anywhere in the news. It ain't anywhere in the news. Yeah, so yeah, nothing there. Actually, there's nothing there at all. So anyway, all right, I'm going to keep moving on here. So, I mean, I trust YouTube. I have stuff on YouTube, but like everything, it depends. Oh, Julian Assange gets zero respect here. You are correct. And he doesn't just get no respect. Julian Assange gets negative respect here. I think that is correct. But no, I mean, just like on YouTube, just like everywhere else, the problem is, I think too many people, they just don't have enough experience with this, I think. I mean, I say that's one of the biggest risks. How we could have a discussion on this any night on when you empower people, you can empower too many people. For example, we empowered too many people to be activists. Accident was a Freudian slip. So now everybody's an activist and everybody can scream about everything, and they can even organize all their crazy friends and crazy strangers from around the world. And they've got 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 crazy strangers. And because they've got 10,000, they assume they must be right. All they are is 10,000 crazy people, but you know, the internet let them join together. And the same thing with news. We've empowered everybody to do news. And the problem is, you know, not everybody is credible. Not everybody wants to be credible. Some people start credible like Glenn Greenwald and go off into La La Land, not Hollywood, just like la la. You know, so, or you just get a lot of you've got the propagandists, you've got liars, you've got people who are willing to, like I, for example, will not put up rumors. I'll put up something the Ukrainians are claiming, but I won't put up just like literally a rumor like, hey, people are saying maybe this happened. I mean, usually not. It would have to be something that a Russian military blogger is claiming, whatever. So, I mean, the issue becomes are you insane? These people, like these weird it always cracks me up that these weird spammers try to join me as like a guest host in my live, like I'm going to click I accept with some woman who looks like she's a total, somebody that would be going after Nathan in these spam comments on YouTube. Anyway, yes, Hoover Dam had a fire. It's out, which is good. What was a little creepy with that was there's a fire. I have to show you Hoover Dam, big dam out west in the United States, big dam. And there's a fire there, and totally blows my mind. As always, just like with tornadoes, people start filming it and commenting on it as this thing. Mind you, it's a fire at the bottom of a dam, and it's not even a fire, an explosion. I would be worried about, is it going to blow up and are we all going to die? But look at this. Lastly, look at this.
Folks, get your video on that. There's just been an incident here. My goodness, someone's just blown out.
Oh, you can even hear the idiot, the guide. Listen to the guide.
Folks, get your video on that. There's just been an incident here.
My goodness, someone's just blown out.
The idiot guide is going, folks, get your video on that. Something just blew up down there. The bottom of a dam is blowing up, and your first instinct is to say, hey, everybody, you might want to train your cameras on that little explosion down there at the bottom of the dam. I'd be like, folks, you might want to pick up and get your asses off of this dam because we're all about to die. What is it with these people? Seriously, I'm like, you might want to train your video down there, and you could have the last video of your life. How exciting would that be? No, they do this with tornadoes too. They literally sit there outside going, oh, look, that's a big one. Keep filming. And you're looking at this going, oh, they're so going to die. Especially tornadoes, all you need is one thing in the air traveling 100 miles an hour and you're dead. And these idiots all the time with tornadoes. It just, oh. Yeah, right. Now it looks like it looks like a transformer blew up. Bottom line is something blew up. It also could be terrorism. Give me a break. It just, I don't mean you give me a break, but these people are idiots. Now, mind you, well, it's just, yeah, they're idiots. Tornado filming, if you know what you're doing, I'm fine with it. But boy, you better know what you're doing. It better be going the opposite way. And even if it's going the opposite way, tornadoes are really dangerous because if it can spawn one tornado, it can spawn multiple tornadoes. Anyway, water levels at the dam are very low, causing problems. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Oh, yeah, with the buffalo. Yeah. Yep. Hoover Dam is so huge that the concrete is still settling. Oh, that's creepy. Well, that's creepy. Yeah. Okay, any case. Reuters. Okay, yes. I've got Times of London. They're going to destroy. Hang on, where was I at? British Ministry of Defense. Oh, here we go. British Ministry of Defense. They give a daily update that's nice. As well as dealing with severe undermanning, Russian planners face a dilemma between deploying reserves to the Donbass, which is the east of Ukraine, or defending against Ukrainian counterattacks in southwestern Kherson. So this is something I've been talking about a lot. The Donbass is the region here. This is the larger region made up of two regions. I will go back to see. There's a super chat missing. Ruh-roh. Donbass is here. The Russians are trying to totally occupy it. But the problem they've got is, do they put more troops here because their troops are tired and spent and frankly killed and lost a lot of equipment? Or do they deal with the counterinsurgency and the counteroffensive going on here in Kherson? This is the region where the Ukrainians have got the best efforts at using local Ukrainian civilians to basically go after collaborators, blow them up. They've been doing a very good job. So the conundrum now for the Russians is, what do you do? They've been trying to get this, and Putin has ordered them to do whatever they can to get this, but it means they're falling behind here. So the British Ministry of Defense is simply saying the same thing, that it's posing a longer planning dilemma. It says, while Russia may still make further territorial gains, their operational tempo and the rate of advance is likely to be very slow without a significant operational pause for reorganization and refit. So what they're saying is, even this most recent pause that went on for a week or whatever, thank you, Louis, for the garland headpiece, it's not enough. Now, let me look here. Hang on. Okay. Tyson's being funny. I haven't read it yet. Nathan's there. Did I miss anybody else? I can tell these are going to be two jokers, but I'll go for it. All right. Joker number one. Yep. Fabiana, we got. Tyson, can you do the tornado accent? I don't remember. Did I do a tornado accent? Oh, that was my southern accent. I shouldn't do that. That was rude. That was my rude fake rural accent. I don't do a good fake rural accent. And Nathan, but the Russians have no Vecna, no dog-faced people. No faced dog people? Faced dog people? Are we faced, Nathan? Like, faced dog people or dog-faced people? I'm going to go with dog-faced. Well, we don't know. We don't know what the Russians have. That's right. We know, well, I'll get to that story in a minute about what the Ukrainians have, speaking of Vecna. Exactly. Go eat the detergent. Exactly. So continuing on, Ukraine's military destroys 2 more ammunition depots in southern Ukraine. Ukraine's Operational Command South reported on July 18th, that would be yesterday, that Ukrainian forces killed 65 Russian troops and destroyed, thank you, Kanazi, destroyed a Redut 2 US, whatever that is, mobile communication system, 11 armored and military vehicles, and 2 ammunition depots. Well, that's good. Also, no more information on this, but the Ukrainians have reportedly shot down a Russian plane in the Kherson Oblast, which is the Kherson region I was telling you about in the west. Well, not in the west, but it's in the western, the western side of what the Russians occupy. And the plane was shot down near the town of Novakhovka, which is that town that the Ukrainians have been really blowing up, God, like almost every day now. As I told you, something important about that town. The Washington Post then did the story of the mom. I already told you about her fighting for her son who's missing now because they put him in detention. Monsters. Oh, this is a good one. So Russian parliamentarians are convinced that the Americans have created Ukrainian super soldiers. This is where they're talking about Vecna and Stranger Things. Made Ukrainian super soldiers by injecting them with components from secret American biolabs in Ukraine. I kid you not. One of the Russian newspapers, Kommersant, picked it up, and I grabbed it and then did Google Translate on it. Hold on, let me get to my favorites. I can find it. So here's the Google Translate. I kid you not. And this is from the paper, respected paper, and they're reporting on the parliamentarians. So in other words, members of the Russian parliament talking about their new big theory. Yeah, there was a report of the Russians shooting down their own plane yesterday. I don't know that it's the same one, though. It may be, but I'm not convinced it's the same one because that report already was out yesterday. So if it was the same one, I would have thought they would have included it in the report today. You know what I mean? So my guess is this is a different one than the one yesterday. But yes, there was a report yesterday that the Russians shot down their own plane. And it actually came from Russians talking online that seemed to admit, fault. So listen to this, X-Men 2. The title of the article, I love that even in translation it works. The title of the article, Look into the Eyes of Monsters. It reminds me of, what is it? The Crows Have Eyes, part 3. Look into the eyes of monsters. Russian parliamentarians spoke about secret experiments on the Ukrainian military. On Monday, the Federation Council held a regular meeting of the Parliamentary Commission to investigate the activities of American biological laboratories on the territory of Ukraine. According to the co-chairs of the commission, a blood test of Ukrainian servicemen showed that they were subjected to, quote, secret experiments. I love when they put it in quotes like it's even more nefarious. Secret experiments, as a result of which they were turned into, quote, the most cruel monsters. That's another quote. They were turned into the most cruel monsters. These people are out of, mind you, these are the people who first of all said it was all witchcraft. Remember that? They are out of their freaking minds. Out of their freaking minds. It just blows my mind with them. I mean, because the thing is, like, this was a respectable, like, business paper. Can you even imagine? I mean, can you even freaking imagine if that were to, thanks, Dalcat, if that were to happen here? You know, I need an echo. I know I need an echo to be like, hello. Yeah, they monsters. No, I mean, the National Enquirer would do it, but you wouldn't have a big business paper doing it. That's the thing. You wouldn't have I can't even think, Bloomberg or whatever it is, or the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal isn't going to cover the secret monsters. There's something just incredibly pathetic about the entire thing. Exactly. It's 1950s B-grade movie, but elevated to the highest levels. I mean, not that, having said that, thank you, Rainbow Ray. Having said that, not that we didn't have similar problems with the last administration elevating, remember, dead Hugo Chavez was conspiring with the CIA, and apparently men and women in Thailand using bamboo floors to steal, and with secret servers in Germany and Italy to steal the election, right? So we did have something similar here, except that, well, yeah, now that I think about it, half the country thought the man was okay. So, okay, maybe we are as bad as the Russians. Well, half of us anyway. Universal Soldier. I don't remember that, though. Sorry. I did not. Did you hear about the 17 Democratic lawmakers arrested in an abortion rights protest at the Supreme Court? Nope. I saw something on Twitter, but I hadn't read it. Did you steal a Hollywood script for the next Universal Soldier? I'm telling you, it's Captain America. It's Captain. Well, somebody else called him Captain Ukraine. Thank you, Netland, for the Galaxy. Somebody called him Captain Ukraine, which I thought was fabulous. Universal Soldier. Don't know. I'll have to look it up. I don't know it. Do not know it. All right. Monsters. Oh yes. So Iran. So yes, Putin was in Iran today, and from the New York Times, as President Putin of Russia seeks to counter the West's attempt to isolate him, he received a full-throated endorsement of his war in Ukraine on Tuesday from Iran's supreme leader, who went even further than other Russian allies in backing Mr. Putin's actions. Meeting with Mr. Putin during a rare international trip of the Russian leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei or whatever, repeated Mr. Putin's argument that the United States and its allies in Europe had left the Kremlin no choice but to invade Ukraine. The best part is, listen to this, because it's literally the crazy talk from the Russians that the Iranians saying. War is a violent and difficult endeavor, and the Islamic Republic is not at all happy that people are caught up in war. Oh yeah, the Islamic Republic, they don't like violence. They just throw you off of a roof if you're gay, or chop your hands off probably, but hey, and God knows what they do to women. They beat women, but hey, they do not like violence. What do you mean? Mr. Khamenei told Mr. Putin, according to his office, but in the case of Ukraine, if you had not taken the helm, the other side would have done so and initiated a war. Yeah, exactly. Putin, if you hadn't attacked Ukraine, little Ukraine would have attacked you. First of all, I mean, none of these guys think of how I have to do a video on that, how pathetic that makes Russia sound, right? You had to attack because that little country on your border that's like this compared to you. I mean, you're the great Russian army, the second greatest army in the world. This little guy next to you is thinking of attacking, so you'd better attack first or else. Really? I mean, I just, how they're so bad at this that they don't even realize how sad it makes them look. Thank you, Elle, for that. It's pathetic. It is pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. But it's also just such a bad argument. The little country next to you is going to go to war, so you better get them first. I mean, all you need to do is put your troops on the border and go try. Just try, right? Yeah. No, exactly. They were afraid. The whole thing, whatever. I'm glad it's in its 5th month, meaning that the Russians didn't get their 3-day war. And it totally has embarrassed them. And frankly, the Russian military looks pathetic at this. I hope the Russian trolls are still here. The entire world, even their allies, look to the Russian military and say, other than nukes, you people are pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Cabinet. Oh, this is good. The Ukrainian cabinet is looking to launch production of Bayraktar drones in Ukraine. Now, I'm not sure how good of an idea this is. Listen to this. Prime Minister, there's a prime minister. Who knew? Prime Minister Denis Shmihal said that the cabinet of ministers would send a bill to the Verkhovna Rada to ratify an agreement between Ukraine and Turkey. The agreement will allow the construction of a factory in Ukraine to produce Turkish Bayraktar drones. Why the hell would you want a factory in Ukraine? Thank you for the cake, by the way. Who sent me that? MILF. I remember I call you Mr. Butts. Although maybe you're Ms. Butts. I don't know. Thank you, Purnell. But I can't see the logic. Thank you, Netlin. I can't see the logic in having a Bayraktar factory in Ukraine that is simply welcoming the Russians to blow it up, right? I mean, all you're doing is asking the Russians to blow it up. The Russians can't blow it up in Turkey. I mean, you know they've thought about this, but it just sounds crazy to me. It just sounds crazy. What is possibly the concept here? You know? I mean, you could put it by the Polish border, but then they're going to use a cruise missile on it. Remember, they had that military base they were training some of the it looked like the foreign soldiers at, and the Russians just bombed it. I'm wondering, or it's a fake or something. Thank you, Lisa, for that. I think it's a fake, or a feint, I should say. You know, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, again, you put the plant there, the Russians are going to figure it out and blow it up. I mean, not to mention, you're building a new factory. I mean, how many new factories are being built right now in Ukraine, right? I mean, thank you, Stephen. It's not terribly hard to figure out, and inspired women. Anyway, maybe planning post-war, but I did see that, Russian. I didn't, actually, I forgot to mention it. Yeah, the U.S. House approved legislation Tuesday to protect same-sex marriage and interracial marriages after concerns of Roe v. Wade being being overturned, because several Republicans have talked about, well, one of the Supreme Court justices himself, Clarence Thomas, came out and said that basically he thought those other decisions should be overturned. In other words, the decisions that make it legal for gay people to marry and that make it legal for, it's complicated, stopped making it illegal. States, okay, back into the 1960s, okay, 1967 in America, it was in certain states illegal for Black people to marry white people. In certain American states, of course, mostly in the South, 1967, okay, crazy, right? Illegal. The Supreme Court case, and get this, because there's a number of famous Supreme Court cases, and many of them have appropriate names, even though the names are simply the names of the two parties. In this case, the name of the party was Loving. The couple that wanted to get married, their name was Loving. So the case is Loving versus Virginia. I mean, and it's a case where they're going to court to permit them to marry because he was white and she was Black. In any case, even though that happened a couple years before Roe v. Wade, it still is based on this notion of privacy and everything else. And basically, interracial gay marriage, especially gay marriage, forget it. They are going to outlaw gay marriage again. It's going to be gone. It's going to be gone. I mean, that absolutely was based on Roe v. Wade, which they got rid of, the abortion decision. So so the U.S. House just passed legislation to protect same-sex marriage and interracial marriage. It would have to pass the Senate, and then, let's see if people like Joe Manchin or frankly, any of the Republicans want to step up and help. It'd be very interesting to see if they want to help. Roe, I assume Roe must have been based. I read Roe 30 years ago. I don't remember the basis. Roe happened 6 years after Loving. I wouldn't be surprised if it referenced Loving. But in any case, it's at risk now. So yes, if Congress were to pass a law, it would protect it. It would protect it. The problem is Thomas Walsh asks, is packing the court a good answer? Basically, the Supreme Court, our Supreme Court, the federal Supreme Court has 9 justices. But nowhere in the Constitution does it say it has to have 9 justices. It can have more, it can have fewer. And at times in history, it's had different amounts. The theory is, or the argument is, I should say, that a Democratic president could add more seats to the court. He could add 5 more seats or something and fill them up with Democrats, and now Democrats have a majority. The problem is, you know very well, a Republican president would come and he'd put 10 seats on the court, and it would go on and on and on. So, you know, and honestly, not that they wouldn't anyway, right? But Manchin is just a very conservative Democrat, and he's not pro-life either. I mean, he's pro-life as well. He's just a very conservative Democrat, which, you know, I mean, I appreciate you. Look, one sec, hot tea. I appreciate that Manchin is a conservative Democrat. He's from a ridiculously conservative state. The state, we call it a plus 20 Trump state, meaning Trump won the state, I believe, by 20 points. Okay, you know, over well, maybe over Biden, but certainly over Hillary, and therefore it is very hard for Manchin to be anything but a conservative Democrat, if not a Republican. But I don't think he's voting in his own best interest. His state's crazy. They're nuts there. So he is voting with his state. His state isn't like, hey, we're more liberal than Manchin. His state's probably going, we're more conservative than Manchin. West Virginia. You know, the problem is that I also think he plays games. I think he plays games. And I think he was playing a game with Biden, and that's what bothers me. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with what he's doing. He's being a jerk. You know, it's one thing to say, look, I'm more conservative. I just can't accept, you know, this legislation, blah, blah, blah. I think he's just playing games. So anyway, a Swedish volunteer was killed in Donetsk Oblast in the east. According to Swedish television, a 28-year-old volunteer from Sweden was killed after being hit in the chest by a grenade. Oof. The man had previously served in the Swedish Air Force as a lieutenant and arrived in Ukraine as part of the International Legion. That was the last story. No, I believe you are in parts of the state, but I'm saying overall, the state went 20, you know, plus 20 for Trump. Overall, the state's conservative. I think to some degree, we ought to have more people on the Supreme Court, in that it is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous that that the Supreme Court can go, you know, liberal to crazy conservative, or even conservative to crazy liberal. It shouldn't be able to do that kind of swing, you know? I just don't think that's right on either side, actually. It's funny. Well, I didn't want to get into all of that. Because my friend Ryan had made some interesting comments the other day that got me thinking too. You know, but there's got to be a better way of doing it than this. Anyway, no, I believe you about the arrest in front of the Supreme Court. I'm not sure it matters one bit. You know, I mean, it's fine. It doesn't do anything. I mean, I'm fine with it. I think people need to protest, but it doesn't really do anything. And honestly, AOC gets us absolutely nothing. I mean, look, my business is political marketing. Okay, I am about how to sell a message, and you do not sell liberal messages by getting the most liberal member of your party to be your mascot. It does not sell your message. Okay, you forget the Republicans. You have to sell your message to somebody in the middle. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is not. I don't even like her. Right? I'm one of the good guys. I can't stand her. And forget Ayanna Pressley, she's okay. The other women are insane. Omar is insane. Who's that other one? Tlaib. Oh my God. She and Omar. Oh my God. You know, but AOC is the poster child for what the Republicans hate among Democrats, and they've made her the mascot for demonizing us as being socialists. She is a socialist. It's fine. Democratic socialist, my ass. She's a socialist. And in America, that message doesn't fly. She is the last person that anybody should be talking about. Amongst ourselves, that's great. Okay? But she's doing this, and Bernie Sanders is the same way. AOC knows that if she gets arrested, the base is going to love it, but the people we need to influence are going to go, ew. So my question would be, why is she even doing it if she knows it's going to be counterproductive? That's my problem. That's my problem. Because I have always told people, and I say this when we have hearings and everything else, I say, the new Democrats are like, if you have a hearing on an issue, right, and before Congress, and civil rights issue, whatever, they want to make sure that everyone on the panel is representative of every community, and we've got to have gay and lesbian and transgender and bisexual and black and white and green and everything, right? Whereas the way I was taught, which is the way you do it, you say, who is going to influence these people? If everybody on the panel being black is going to influence these people, then put everybody on the panel who's black. I couldn't care less. As a gay man, put somebody, a gay white man, put somebody who's black. If lesbians are more sympathetic, put more women on the panel than gay men. If women are more sympathetic, right? I mean, the new people, this younger generation, I will say, of lefty activists on the left, they don't think strategically. They are always thinking of this, equality thing, or intersectionality, as they call it, which is like this. They think it's a new theory, which also drives me crazy. Intersectionality is the concept that lots of different issues intersect. For example, and I'm going to tell you this, and you're going to go, duh, okay? If you are a black homeless woman who's a lesbian, okay? You face challenges in life because you're black, you face racism. Everybody sees you on the street, and per se, you're going to have more issues than a white person. You're a woman. Women make less than men, so you're facing that challenge. You're a lesbian. Gay people and lesbians overall have challenges. And the punchline is, so all of these different issues come together and make this woman even more, like makes her suffer even more. And I'm like, seriously? You just figured that out? Anyway, but my point is, they do this intersectionality bullshit, and this is part of what it is. So it's everybody on every issue. We should have AOC there. We should have the far left represented. Let's have the women in Congress on the, I'll stop. I don't mean to knock people who like AOC. That's not really the issue. The point is, she ain't well loved on the middle. And she sure as hell isn't well loved on the right. She does, and Bernie does the same thing. Bernie does no good. Bernie's a good speaker, but he doesn't, the only thing Bernie can help with is when he ran for president, at least at the beginning, there were some Republicans who I knew, like Republican women, some of them kind of liked Bernie. They thought he was smart. They thought, right? So like Bernie, maybe Bernie could talk in a way that would convince some people, because also they haven't totally demonized Bernie Sanders yet because they had AOC, right? And they'd much rather demonize a woman than a man. Republicans love to demonize women. In any case, boo. So yeah, that's my concern about that. I don't see how it helps. Hold on. Yes, I was ranting. What did David say while I was ranting? Sorry, David. Drink water now. I'm still doing the tea, actually. I think the tea is helping. The warm tea is helping more. And it's my green tea. Now, it depends. If you're trying to get people to turn out for a massive protest in the streets, whatever, you may want Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to help you do it. But you don't want her leading the parade. You do want her doing everything she can to talk to the base and get them out there. So it's a subtle dance. Now, she, I will say, is smarter than Omar and Tlaib. Omar and Tlaib are morons. They don't know politics at all, and I've got big issues with them. I just don't like AOC, but she is very smart politically, and she's learned a lot. She toned it down a lot from the very beginning. She got in there and then immediately toned it down, and I think has been actually very smart the way she's played things in general. The other one, yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Let me go look at the questions. I hadn't even looked at your guys' questions yet. We've been talking about so many things. Tiki-taki. 1 second here. Wars can be started by politicians to distract from problems at home. Is that what drives Putin's stupidity? Well, I I don't know. I mean, from what we know, it seems like Putin is very big on this concept. I mean, Putin is about Putin. I mean, Putin wants to be the next czar. He wants to be remembered in the history books as the man that made Russia great again after the Soviet Union dissolved and Russia lost its greatness. And now, he's bringing back the old colonies by going after Ukraine, and he's making Russia feared in the world. So I think it's about him, and I think he also does have this vision of greater Russia, right? So that is. But having said that, the Russians are also very good at using foreign enemies to distract from problems at home. So my guess is it's probably a little bit of everything. But it also is, exactly as Verna just said, it's Tsar Putin on the loose, though. Absolutely. I actually had another troll on YouTube that said Ukraine was loosing, and I thought of you guys. I just deleted him. I was like, I just can't. There's only so much I can do. But it was pretty funny. I totally thought of you all. Ukraine is loosing. LOOS. Do you think the world is heading for an impending global collapse soon? Well, God, I hope not. You're kind of the joke is you're kind of an up person, Esperanza. I mean, there are a lot of bad things going on right now. We had the threat to democracy, which is not great. And we've got it in a number of countries, including our own, a serious threat to democracy right now and democratic institutions. At the same time, an economic crisis does not help, right? I mean, even with strong institutions, it doesn't help. But when you've got people like Trump, and unfortunately the leadership now of the Republican Party, that are pushing anti-democratic, meaning democracy, proposals and vision for the country, that's really scary, because people are willing to do crazier things when the economy's bad, if we go into a bad recession because of Russia, also probably because it's time, we have good economy and recessions come, but because of Russia, because of oil, because of inflation, not inflation, but that's separate. It's, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I do think, was it the ex-NATO chief? I saw a NATO chief. I saw who I thought was the current NATO chief, who was going quite strong about needing to support Ukraine yesterday. Was that the ex-NATO chief, Netlin? KK, thanks for the galaxy. But was it the ex-chief, and was he going after Macron? Hold on, I've got to see. Oh no, well, if it was you on YouTube, I just blocked you, Laka. See if I blocked you. I may have banned you thinking it was a troll. This is why you got to be careful. And by the way, the other thing the Russian trolls do on TikTok, they are famous for this. They put laughing faces after their comments. So putting a laughing face would only cement that you were a troll, just so you know. Don't even, yeah. I think I may have blocked you, Laka. That's funny. I was thinking, I can't believe this person is doing this. But it is funny, on TikTok all the time, one of the best tests for the Russian trolls are they love to put their laughing. They're like laughing and crying emoji. And it's like, oh, okay. It was a current chief saying that NATO needs to prepare for war against Russia. That was it. Yeah, there was, let me pull this up. I saw a really good quote from, what's his face? Isn't he Swedish? What's his name? Stoltenberg. Let me see this. Here we go. Business Insider. No, oh, you're right. No. The former one did rip in. You're right. I didn't see the former. I saw Stoltenberg. You are correct. Ex-NATO chief Anders Fogh Rasmussen slammed Macron over his approach to Ukraine in an interview with The Atlantic. Rasmussen took aim at Macron over his, quote, disastrous suggestion Putin should not be humiliated. He also criticized Macron's unsuccessful attempts at telephone diplomacy with Putin. Let me look here. Okay. Rasmussen, who is also a former prime minister of Denmark, said the UK has been an outstanding partner for Ukraine. Next to the US, the United Kingdom has been a driving force in helping Ukraine. This should be seen as a contrast to the efforts of another big European country, namely France, partly because of President Macron's making those very strange statements about a need to avoid humiliating Putin, and because of his telephone diplomacy with Putin. Unsuccessful, I would say. If you assess the weapons deliveries from different countries to Ukraine, France has delivered almost nothing. Oh my God. The scale of French deliveries is equivalent to what Denmark has offered, valued at 160 million. In comparison, Britain has been outstanding. Interesting. Speaking on his opposition to giving Putin what Macron described as an exit ramp, mind you, I think Biden's thinking is totally in line with Macron's, believe it or not. The former NATO chief said that the West, quote, reacted too mildly, and we sent the wrong message to Putin following the invasion of Georgia and Ukraine, 2008, 2014. I think he's right about that. He calculated that he could almost without any cost grab land from his neighbors. That is why Macron's statement is so dangerous, so disastrous. It suggests that we are approaching a new world order where it's not the rule of law that matters, but the rule of the strongest. If Putin can get away with taking land from Ukraine, that's horrendous, because what's next? Very bad signal to China over Taiwan. This is why Putin shouldn't be offered an exit ramp in the war and should instead be told that if he wants to get out of this mess, get out of Ukraine. I love that. If you want to get out, get out. During an interview with French media in June, Macron said, "We must not humiliate Russia so that the day when the fighting stops, we can build an exit ramp through diplomatic means." Oh, well, that's funny. I had not seen that. That's fabulous. That's fabulous. Wow. Good for him. That's really good. That's really good. Thank you, Andy, for the crane. Sorry, did I miss anything else while I was reading here? I don't think so. Hang on here. Have you heard about 3 NATO warships entering the Bosphorus and headed to the Black Sea? Sky News is saying, I am suspicious. I would hope it's true. Sky News, NATO ships, Black Sea. Let's see. Not seeing it. Nope. NATO, I'll look at NATO ships, Black Sea, but I don't think so. Oops. Usually Harvey, I don't know if Harvey's here tonight. Usually Harvey is our story person. No, this is Russia. Let me look. This is possibly. Okay, this is, okay, this is from Stars and Stripes, which is trustworthy, from, I believe, come on, Stars and Stripes, yesterday. U.S. naval forces are taking part in a Black Sea exercise and visiting a Turkish city this week, bringing with them a message of NATO solidarity. Navy Poseidon patrol and reconnaissance planes from Task Force 67 based in Sicily and expeditionary units from Task Force blah, blah, blah in Spain are slated to participate in Breeze 2022 based in Bulgaria. The Bulgarian port of Varna is about 370 miles south of the Ukrainian city of Odessa. Meanwhile, the USS Bainbridge, currently deployed to the Harry Truman Strike Group, made a scheduled port visit in the Sea of Marmara to Agsaz, Turkey on Monday. Where the hell is the Sea of Marmara? Okay, that's interesting. So that's something. Let's see, Sea of Marmara. That's something at least. Oops, Marmara. Thank you for that. The Sea of Marmara is the little bit of sea right before you cross the Bosporus and go into the Black Sea. So it's right before you cross the little peninsula there that Turkey has. Okay. Well, that's it. And Varna, yeah, Varna is like, well, I'll show you. Oh, that's interesting. I like to see that. Just anything to piss the Russians off. That's a good thing. Varna, Bulgaria. Here we go. Yeah. So here you go. There's the Black Sea. That's the Black Sea. Obviously, that's got Crimea in it, and that's where Varna is. Oops, you guys, let me move my page away. So that is Varna. So yeah, you can see how it's not that far. So it's good that U.S. ships are there at least. That's good. I like it. I like it. They'll have AWACS to monitor what's happening in Ukraine. Yep. No, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. Excellent. Let me see. Oh, you know what? I'll look for one more question here on one of you and then call it quits because it's 1:15 and I'm trying to do that as my new time here. When is it time to jump ship from what, Danny? What do you mean? With everything going on right now, when is it time to jump ship? You mean like move to another country or die? I'm not sure what you mean. What do you mean? More hot tea. Ooh, that was a little too hot, but I'll survive. Yeah. Thank you, Marcy. Let me see. Beep, 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 beep. Eric apologizes on behalf of all Frenchmen for the weak president. Thank you, El. That was cute, Eric. We appreciate you. Don't worry. He doesn't help, though. Well, you know, and the thing that's sad is the problem is also he promotes a bad stereotype of the French people. Because in America, I don't know, in Europe, do you guys do this in Europe too? Because in America, you know, people who don't like France see the French as quitters. They see the French as losers, that they always lose wars and things. That's like the bad stereotype. Is that like the bad stereotype in Europe too? That people use, like if people are being bad about the French, is that what they say? Okay, there you go. Weak and wimps. And and the thing is, that bothers me even more that Macron is doing it because it buys into the stereotype. It reinforces the stereotype. That's the worst thing of all, you know? If Ukraine loses Odessa, it's bad. It's very bad. Richard Engels said he sort of hinted at that. Well, I mean, if Ukraine loses Odessa, this is all lost, okay? I mean, the sea, I forget how far the sea actually goes up here because the blue begins to be Russia over here as well. This is the actual sea. All of this was lost by Ukraine, all of this sea coast. Pretty much up to, I'd have to see, maybe up to here. So the Ukrainians maybe have, I mean, they have this, but whatever. Odessa's their big remaining port. If they lose this gets cut off and they lose this. It means they then become a landlocked country. They no longer have access to the Mediterranean and access to the rest of the world. That's a disaster. First of all, because they're such a big grain producer, that's how they export their grain. So even after the war is done, it's over. Your commerce cuts back. I mean, everything cuts back. It's terrible. Yeah, no, he's not wrong about that. But again, this is why, you know, we've got to provide better weapons. I just, you know. And mark my words, we're going to give them another. Let's see what the Pentagon says. My bet is on 4 HIMARS. And we're not going to up the ammunition yet. We're not going to give them the good ammunition yet. That's my guess. Let's see, but it's my guess. Oof. All right, and we're at 17 after, so I'm going to updates on the attacks on the Kerch Bridge. Nothing yet. I mean, I'm still not sure they've got anything that can do it yet. They would be able to do it massively if we gave them the other stuff. Oh. Cheese-eating surrender monkeys. So who came up with that originally? I forgot because I saw that quoted. It was kind of funny. Anyway. Kirby did say we're giving more weapons. Yes. He said we're giving more HIMARS, we're giving more munitions, but we don't quite know how many HIMARS. Again, if it's 4, I'm going to kill them. You know, this slowly. You know, the non-Ukrainian experts say Ukraine needs dozens. I read 50 to 100. it's at least dozens of these things. So at least like 36 to 40, at least. And we've given them like, 12. It's like, okay. And we do it, like I said, every 3 weeks, we give them a little more, It's kind of like a little child you're trying to starve but not have die. I mean, I just don't know what else to compare it to. It's horrible. Richard Ingalls is very good. He's very good. ABC News correspondent. Yep. Been there a very long time. I mean, yeah. Anyway, how many does the U.S. have? All right, military boys and girls. How many HIMARS does United States have? Let's look at Wikipedia. Deployment. Over 500, you think? Is that right? I'm trying to see if it's actually listed anywhere here, but I don't. It's got to be somewhere. That would be an obvious, unless Wikipedia has it at the top and I missed it maybe. Nope. At the very top? Nope. That's kind of funny. You'd think they would say less than 1,000. So people are saying 500. Number built, 540, it says. There you go. 540 have been built as of, oh no, this is May 2022. Okay. Yeah. Oh, it's the page on Lockheed Martin's website. It says it here, but I don't know whether it's here. Combat proven solution. There are more than 540 fielded systems worldwide. So I guess it depends whether we've given them to others as well. Have we given them to others as well besides Ukraine? How's that for a question? Have we given HIMARS to anybody else? Or have they only been American at this point? I'm worried about inflation. Yes. Yes. Oh, interesting. Ukraine doesn't have 40. No. We've given Ukraine like 12, maybe 16 now. I'm kind of losing count because we give them, but they don't arrive yet. So UAE maybe has gotten some, Raymond saying. Do we give HIMARS to the UK? I mean, we would. I think we gave them 4. Okay. It also depends how quickly Lockheed Martin can make them. That's another question. But nobody has suggested, actually, the Pentagon isn't even talking about it, basically. They're not explaining what we're giving, why we're giving, what pace we're giving, which maybe is a good thing, but it just feels, what about Afghanistan? We're giving more than 1 a month. I think we're giving 4 a month is kind of how it's working. Maybe 4 a month. Or you can build 1 a month, you mean? Is that what you meant, poli-sci history guy? Oh, interesting. Blake is saying USA has 300. We've sold the rest. I believe it's 1 a month to make. Okay, which is what poli-sci history guy is saying too. Okay. So, yeah, if the US gave 50, we can't give several hundred. If the US gives 50, that's getting us from 300 to 250. And it would take 4 years to get them back. I mean, that is something. I just don't know. Well, first of all, you're right. Honestly, and excuse me, an unclassified website saying they've made 540 doesn't mean they've made 540, right? I mean, maybe they've made 700 or 800. I mean, it's possible. That's true. The MLRS. Now, the MLRS, isn't that the British one? That's what UK sent in. Yep. The US set our wheels. Oh, that's right. The MLRS is the one that's on on tank tracks, right? Right. Which also aren't as good for the Ukrainian terrain, I was reading. All right, yeah, let me recap. Good idea. Good idea. I did not do a recap. All right, recap. I'm yawning again, but I have a right to yawn today since my vaccine still knocked me out. At least I'm feeling better, thank God. All right. Alrighty. Ann Parker won our little prize because she's getting the emblem. Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelenska, is on a high-profile trip to Washington. Reuters says that Russia is going to restart the Nord Stream 1 natural gas pipeline on July 21st. The Times of London reports that Ukraine's defense ministry says it is preparing to destroy Russia's Black Sea fleet and take back Crimea. The U.S. is to give Ukraine more HIMARS rocket systems, no idea how many yet. The French are sending 6 more Caesar howitzers to Ukraine. Excuse me. They have already supplied 12. The British Ministry of Defense says that Russian planners are facing a dilemma between deploying reserves to the Donbass, eastern Ukraine, or defending against Ukrainian counterattacks in Kherson. Ukraine's military destroys 2 ammunition depots in southern Ukraine. See, I yawn and then my eyes water. A Russian plane was shot down in Kherson Oblast yesterday. It may or may not be the same plane that the Russians reportedly shot down themselves. The Washington Post reports on the mother of a Russian paratrooper detained for refusing to fight in eastern Ukraine, and she posted a video online criticizing the Russian government, which one does not do in Russia. Monsters! Russian parliamentarians are convinced that the Americans have created Ukrainian super soldiers by injecting them with components from secret American biolabs in Ukraine. Iran endorses Putin's war in Ukraine. I'm guessing the Ukrainian cabinet is seeking to launch production of the Bayraktar drone in Ukraine, and a Swedish volunteer was killed in Donetsk in the eastern province of Ukraine. So there you go. Just like Vecna. Exactly. Americans are creating Vecna. I mean, honestly, I kind of feel like some of the stuff we ought to be like, what's the joke where it's like, oh, we would never do that. I always love it when actors do that, where they're like, oh, no. But we ought to totally do that for the Russians. Like, super soldiers, that's crazy. Captain Ukraine. Somebody has to draw Captain. Somebody who can draw has got to draw Captain Ukraine. And maybe make one that's a woman, too, just for fun. Do a man and a woman. Anyway, I'm not doing more substance now, guys. We're done. I'm going to sign off in a couple of minutes just because I'm preserving my voice. And we've been going an hour and a half. So, oh, man. Ooh, la, la. Oh, boy. Thanks, John. A Captain Ukraine t-shirt. Now, there's another idea. All right, I'm going to write that down. I am trying to add ideas here. Hold on. Where's my... Okay. Captain Ukraine. All right, that'll be another one. Hold on. Russia is losing. I've got to get that on here, too. Oh, losing dude. Oh, my. Oh, my. Exactly. I know. Well, somebody asked me. It's funny. Somebody asked me. Excuse me. Somebody asked me if I had relatives in Ukraine. I was like, no. And I said, but I think I have a lot of friends in Ukraine now. Well, at least I have several friends in Ukraine now, and several Ukrainian friends from around the world. Sorry, I'm making you guys yawn. Remember, today I've got an excuse because the the vaccine still kind of wore me out today. At least I'm feeling. I mean, I don't feel. Thank God. I really just yesterday was not feeling. By the time, and it kept getting worse as the day went on. By the time I had the broadcast with you guys, I was not feeling well, and I was like, oh God, Google Captain Ukraine. Actually, I woke up almost sick in the middle of the night I got the shot. Oh, that's funny. You go, okay, this is funny. Hold on. This is funny. Oh, Lordy. That's funny. Yeah. There's a lot of things like this when you Google Captain Ukraine. So, oops, hold on. Move back to the screen so I can see you. This is what you get when you Google Captain Ukraine. You get a lot of things of Zelensky. It's very cute. Yeah, I could. Actually, my arm isn't as. It's a little sore. It's a little sore. It's not as sore as it was yesterday. Yesterday, I kind of went, whoa, whereas today it's not doing that. That's good. Oh, God. Here we go. PB&J is posting Reuters, EU to amend sanctions on Russia banks to allow food fertilizer exports. Will announce the only thing with that is, here's the thing with that. It is allowing food exports from Russia and fertilizer exports from Russia. So I'd read about this earlier. The idea is we don't want the sanctions to be exacerbating the problem Russia's already creating by not letting people in the Middle East and North Africa be able to buy food. So, you know. I mean, it's not terrible. I can feel that it's sore and that it's hard still where I got the shot, but it's not, it was much worse yesterday. Yesterday, I put the patch like this and I went, whoa. So it definitely has calmed down. Hey, Donnie Chick. Oh, see your comment above? Okay. Oh, I didn't see. So did you get blocked? Hold on, Laka. Oh, God. I'm sorry, guys. Wait a minute, yeah. Actually, by the way, folks, in general, and I also say this when I miss somebody's post, don't tell me to find your comment above. Just tell me what the comment was, because it's really hard to find comments. I mean, for example, Laka, I'm seeing your comment says Brett Sykes on YouTube. I don't have any idea what that means. And now if it's referring to an earlier comment, I've got to find the earlier comment. So yeah, if you're ever, okay, it does appear that it was you on YouTube. Okay, I'll have to do it afterwards. Okay, that's funny. I blocked Lotta. Okay, if that's your YouTube name, that will help me find it. Okay. Actually, hold on. I can probably do it right now. Initially, I was afraid of losing people, but I don't think it actually disconnects anymore, at least on YouTube. Hold on. I'll do it right now so I can find it. That's funny. I totally was thinking, who is this jerk? It's Laka. Yeah, things like that are tough because you never know who's joking and who isn't. So like I said, totally, I'm hoping I can find this easily. Hang on. And YouTube makes it, oh, Jesus Christ. YouTube makes this so freaking hard to find people. Oh, God. Oh, God. This is going to be really not fun to find. I've got to go through like 350 names now to find you, and I'm scrolling through one by one because YouTube and their brilliant thing has decided to build something they created in, I don't know, 2006 or whatever, and haven't updated it since. Are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do this later. Fuck. All right, don't ever do that again. But that is your name on YouTube at least? All right. Yeah, I'll have to. Now, the only other possibility is, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to find you. It's gonna be a pain. Oh well. All right, I'll find it and bring it back. Yeah. Okay. I'll find if you're Brett Sykes, I can find it later. All right, guys. Let me sign off. I'm gonna do what's best for the voice here. And tomorrow is Wednesday, so tomorrow 6 p.m. Eastern again. And then Thursday we'll do the show later so we can all watch maybe the Americans can watch the hearing together. All right, thank you guys, and thank you moderators. As always, joy to watch you smack everybody down. And Brett, yeah, we'll try to see what I can do, you little pain in the ass. I'm gonna write this down. I did write it down, thank God, or I couldn't find it. All right, guys. All right, you all, good night, and then I'm doing the